Welcome to Scoop World Order. We are live post Western Kentucky 63-10. Ohio State destroys the Hilltoppers. What a great game. Fantastic game by the defense. Colin McCord looks fantastic. A humongous step forward as we head to South Bend this week. I think this is a nice little jolt for the guys. We got a lot of really good stuff on film that Marcus Freeman and his staff got to study. But man, what a different feeling this week versus Youngstown State than versus Indiana. The thing's starting to click. I loved seeing the backups get in at the end. Carnell Tate, gets in the end zone, his first touchdown after all he's been through. A lot of great stuff to talk about today. So we appreciate you guys joining us. As always, thank you so much for all your support. Our game thread was absolutely massive today on BuckeyeScoop.com. If you guys are not on BuckeyeScoop.com, I don't know what you guys are doing, because leading up to Notre Dame, we're going to be the resource for the best Ohio State content. And it's going to be fantastic. What a huge week coming up. And if you enjoy this content, please click like, leave a like. Also hit subscribe. Click the little alert bell. We appreciate all you guys. Shout out where you guys are from and give me your two MVPs. I want one on offense and one on defense. Seems like it's Colin McCord, but there's a lot of guys at 8 today. Defensively, I picked Seal Chambers out of the game. You had a pick for me. He had some really good plays on the edge. So I'm really excited to get into this. But I have to get into it with the conductor of the Jim Knowles bandwagon, Mr. Nevadabuck. Nevada, have to be feeling pretty good today after a team that was number one in the nation in passing got shut down today by our defense.
It's like, I understand it's only 3 games, but let me just say something to the fans that are out there right now and listening. These seasons are so short, okay? And I'm older. I've got a little bit of benefit of perspective. Been around been watching Ohio State my whole life. Enjoy every game. So don't sit there going, oh, this game's only this, this game's only that. We're a quarter of the way through the season already. And if you're looking at it kind of going, it's only this, I'll wait to the Notre Dame game to get excited. Or after we kick the heck out of Notre Dame, it's going to be, well, it's all about the Penn State game, or I'm going to wait to the Michigan game. That's really going to tell me whether I'm going to be happy or not. It's like, man, be happy now. Just be happy now. Jump on board. Look, the defense is giving up 6.7 yards per game after 3 games. I know it's Indiana. I know it's Youngstown State. I know it's Western Kentucky, and I happen to like Western Kentucky destroyed South Florida, and South Florida went toe-to-toe with Alabama today and almost beat them. So, I know you can't play the X versus Y versus Z transferred formula, blah, 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 whatever. But this is a very good Ohio State defense. And to all the people, and I'm talking to 75%, 80% of the people that are out there that are just bagging on Sawyer and JT about our defensive ends aren't this, and our guys, just be patient. These are very, very good players. We've been constraining them a little bit. We took the shackles off them a little bit today, and they started to dominate. No, they didn't rack. I thought we'd get 5 sacks today. I apologize. I thought we'd get 300 yards rushing. Neither one of those things came true. Having said that, I had a pretty good handle on this game. Ohio State was pretty fired up. I thought that was a really, really good effort. And, Knowles, you could see Knowles figured out really quickly. He ran that one blitz on like 3rd and 9. They completed the pass. I think Proctor got lost, and Proctor and Hancock gave up a thing, and the guy gets first down. And he realized, something, I don't need to blitz anymore. I can get pressure with 4. And whether they got there and got the sack or just got in his face and started knocking him down, the front 4 dominated the game. The defensive front 4 was terrific today. And that's a Western Kentucky team that knows how to pass. They know how to pass block. They know how to get the ball out. They know how to run routes. And we dominated them. And that's a very good sign, because if you can play defense with 7 back and only 4 up front, you can be pretty good. And, I think that's really going to be one of the keys going forward. I couldn't have been happier with that. Offensively, I thought the offensive line did a terrific job. Are there things we want to clean up? Absolutely. But it was a step. These things are building. Every year it's building. And again, if you go back to 2002, if you go back to 2014, you just look at the team just getting better and better. It wasn't that way at the beginning of the year. It wasn't so obvious at the beginning of the year, oh my God, this is a national championship team. But they got better every week. Cal McCord threw a bad pass early, fumbled early, and something, he could have put his head down and said, oh man, this is not my day. I'm just not. Instead, he cowboyed up and had a great game. Not a good game. He had a great game. Whether the passes were open or what, it doesn't matter. He played great. And you know what I liked? He got better than last week. And he was better than the week before that. So there's no reason to believe that we're not going to go to. I'm telling you right now, we are going to beat Notre Dame. So just mark me down, put me down to the thing, put me down to the W category. I'm not going to call the score right now, but we're going to beat Notre. We're better than Notre Dame. We're faster than Notre Dame on both sides of the ball, markedly faster. And they're not going to be able to just dictate what they want to do either on either side against us. And we can attack you so many ways on offense. We can attack you so many ways on defense. This is a very good Ohio State team. You guys got a glimpse of it today. All aboard the Jim Knowles Express. The $2 million man was doing it. That's a really fun defense to watch. And don't when you watch them, don't you get a sense of coherence and like there's no running around, guys running off the field last minute, blowing cover. It's like these guys know what they're doing. This is a very good defense and 6.7 points per game after 3 games. Very excited. Couldn't be happier. Let's go on to beat Notre Dame.
Yeah, I think there's a great point in terms of the coherence. You don't see substitution issues. You see these guys running on and off the thing. They're running to the ball, a lot of effort. I mean, even Brock Heward and the commentators were talking about how hard they're playing, how they're getting to the ball. Again, I think that when you've got guys like Tommy and Steele in the middle of everything, controlling everything, their energy just kind of radiates throughout the whole team. I think a guy who's a huge energy guy now is Josh Proctor, who's showing up everywhere. And I love seeing that because that's a kid, year 6, after getting benched in year 5 last year, after like the first drive of the Notre Dame game, we like never saw him again. He's come back and he's playing impact football, which is awesome. Denzel Burke looks like a brand new guy. I mean, we've got our true freshmen are running pick sixes back. So, but I'm going to get into the offense because offensively, our first 3 plays, we got touches for our 3 best guys on the entire team. Marvin Harrison, Trey Henderson, Emeka Egbuka. So I'm going to get into this real quick because I love this plan. Ryan figured out, hey, you know what? You know what we're going to do to get Kyle and Marvin going right away? Just right here, little quickie, catch the ball, throw it, little motion, little eye control. Marvin, the easiest throw you could ever imagine. Catch, throw, first down, first play. And then what do we do right after that? My favorite thing in the entire universe. We go right to the line and we go fast break tempo. So you go fast break tempo right to the line. Something that I think that when you do that, when you're playing, a defense that plays 2 defensive linemen, very unorthodox, get the ball, you see Trey, you're running our stretch. Josh Fryer could be better there, obviously, laid off the ball. But, you see the vision, you see the speed, and you're at 2nd and, 4 in 2 plays. You've got 2 touches for your best guys. And then the last play, which I'm gonna hit this one, and then we'll go. Actually, I'm gonna take a second. Nevada, when you get your 3 studs involved right away, what does that say about how the day's gonna go? Because I felt like after that Indiana game, when you saw how little Emeka and Marvin were involved, I think that there's been a very there's been a big effort by the staff to make sure that Marvin's involved early. But what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I thought we were less predictable. I thought there were a few times today that I absolutely knew we were running the ball and we ran the ball, but I think we're getting less predictable. We're breaking some of our tendencies. We're running some of that delay action where you're bringing Stover across the formation and hitting him with those nice easy pitch and catches from the from McCord to the tight end dragging across the field, and I love those plays. I think those are defensive stressors. Those are plays to give the defensive guys pause, so they can't just sell out. They can't just come flat across the line. They can't just crush into the hole and do the stuff. I think we're doing some clever things with the offense, and when we do that, you know what happens? The offense gets yards in a hurry, and we put up 28 points. I think in 6 minutes or something like that, and just made it look easy. Because it should be easy with these kind of athletes. Offense shouldn't be hard. It shouldn't be hard. That doesn't mean we're going to score every play. That doesn't mean we're going to get 9 first downs every possession or something. But offense doesn't need to be hard. It doesn't need to be played in a phone booth. It doesn't need to be played with 19 bodies in the box. Spread them out. Let's play in space. And when we do that, good things happen. And they showed it. They highlighted it on the Fox telecast. But there was one play, and it was notable because McCord doesn't do this a lot. But on the touchdown pass to Emeka near the goal line, he looks left, comes back to the right, and Emeka's wide open. It's like that's the little stuff that Kyle's got to do with his eyes is start moving guys up because he's kind of known as a one-read guy right now. But when he comes off guys, boy, it opens up beautifully. And like I said, the great thing about a game like today is stuff to work on. Was it perfect? Absolutely not. We can, I'm sure we'll pick apart this and that and everything. But a lot of guys got in, a lot of guys get action, and nothing juices up players more than playing time. And when you get, how many turnovers do we have defensive? We had more turnovers today defensively and 2 defensive scores, and I think 8 or 9 tackles for losses, multiple sacks, multiple picks, multiple fumble recoveries. And that was with blowing a fumble recovery by Denzel right near the goal line that led to their first touchdown. Or I should say first and only touchdown. So, it could have been worse, but what a terrific effort, and, a lot of fun watching it, and a good job by the offensive staff scheming it up to get guys involved, to get them involved early, and there's the result, 63 points.
Yeah, and this is a great man coverage beater. Again, I know that Western Kentucky is not, they're not the 85 Bears by any stretch, but, here you put your 2 studs over here. You put Marvin and Emeka over here. You put Julian and Cade over here. So these guys get attention. So he's got him, man. He's got him, man. And so what they do here, this is brilliant. I love watching this. They motion Cade out here. So you have a lot of eyeball stuff going all over the place. So you're going to motion Cade. You're going to fake a handoff over here. Then you're going to jet him at the stop of the ball across the formation, and Julian is going to come in and seal the linebacker. In the old days we'd crack him, but you don't want to get thrown out of the game or thrown in jail anymore. But so you motion Cade, so you see everyone's bumping out to defend Cade. Julian comes in and seals. Cade, with that motion, gets a running start to seal up the corner. You fake the handoff to Trey. You get Marvin out here. You get the line all working this way.
Now watch that play. If he hands it to Trey, how much room does Trey have?
He's gone.
He's gone.
Again, this is 127th defense in the country, but instead he throws it to Emeka because again, you want to get Emeka involved early, and you see the perimeter blocking is great. So again, this is another. This is like basically running plays on air because they're so bad on defense, but the design of it is great. And the most important thing is you get your 3 superstars touches on the first 3 plays. So they're already in the game. They're not waiting around. It's not like the Indiana game where it was just like, why isn't Marvin doing anything? Why isn't Emeka doing anything? It's like, and again, if they hand that to Trey, Trey's probably still running. There was a lot of meat left on the bone. Again, Trey was fantastic today. Again, he's just so much better than any other back on the roster. He's starting to get more carries. He had 13 carries today for 88 yards. I think that the biggest thing that'll keep him from winning major awards is he just doesn't get enough touches, which is fine, because again, you have a lot of mouths to feed and there's not a lot of plays to do it in. But, I think that with what Trey does in his burst, I kind of like that he's got a little bit more tread on the tires because they're not going to beat him to death early in the season because they really don't have to. Like Chip was fantastic, 11 yards a carry. We ran for 200. We averaged 6.2 a carry, which is back to where we need to be. We've been on like 4.3, 4.4, 4.5. Now we're 6.2 today. Again, I think that's, we're trending in the right direction. Are we going to see a real test next week? Yeah, absolutely. We're going to have to go on the road, play in a real environment. They're going to be jazzed up. But, McCord was dealing. And again, the way that they're featuring Emeka was fantastic. And they're putting him in motion a lot, which I love. Because I think Emeka is a guy, he's like Robert Woods. He's like Percy Harvin, a guy that he can take jet sweeps. He can run the ball. He's a built dude. He's not like a little skinnier type guy that you'd be scared to give him a handoff. But Emeka can do everything. He's so much different than Marvin, but they're using him like it, which is great. Nevada, in terms of on offense, who else stood out to you? It was nice seeing Cornell obviously get his first touchdown after everything he's been through with his mom. Evan Pryor got in the game. I was kind of surprised we haven't seen Dallin Hayden. That was kind of bizarre, I guess, to not see him at all today. But what are your thoughts on some of the other guys that stood out on offense?
Well, I thought I want to footnote one play that's not going to show up anywhere on the box score. It's not going to show up anywhere. No, it's just not. It's just not. But I thought it was one of those heads-up play. There was a play where Julian Fleming was peeling back, and I think it was Henderson was loose, was running down the side, and he had a guy lined up to blindside block him. And he didn't. He just picked up his hands and just kind of walked through and just kind of screamed the guy off. And it would have been so tempting just to earhole the guy, and he
Yeah.
didn't do it. I'm sure we'll break down the play later on this week or whatever it is. But like I look at stuff like that and kind of go, that is a veteran play. That's an unselfish play because it would have been so tempting for him to go out there and just highlight reel, send this guy into the C deck. Everybody would have been screaming, and it would have been a penalty. And
Yeah.
instead, he laid off of it. We got the yards. We got the thing. I mean, look, I've been, hearing great reports about Cornell Tate, but I want to call it. I thought Fleming blocked terrific. He got called for holding on one play where he pancaked a guy, and then they go down the other thing and they mug Davison near the goal line. They don't call it. The refs weren't doing us any favors again today, and that's
Yeah.
okay. But no, I thought, like I said, look, there's lots to nitpick, but you just want to keep getting better. Just win, advance, avoid injury, and keep getting better. And we checked all four of those boxes today, and that's a great sign going into a Notre Dame. The Notre Dame's going to be a great challenge for Ohio State, but man, this is the exact way we wanted this to play out. I mean, if we'd have played the first 3 weeks just perfect, you beat out Indiana 70-0 and Youngstown 94-2 and whatever, then you'd be like, well, that's great, but this has been a build. This team's getting better every week. And when a team's getting better every week, they're ready for a nice challenge. They're ready to kind of go up there and take it up another notch. I mean, we told you guys Ryan Day challenged the team this week. He put the pedal down and he challenged them to up the juice level, and they responded. That means Day's got a finger on the pulse of this team because you know as well as anybody, Kurt, you can't put the hammer down 12, 13, 14 weeks in a row on a team
Yeah.
because
No.
teams just do not have that kind of juice. You got to pick your spots, and he picked his spot this week, and he'll sure as heck pick it next week. And that's why I'm expecting a big effort. But this was the perfect springboard into that. Couldn't be more excited.
Yeah, and like otherwise, if you do it every week, it's like white noise. Eventually, it gets tuned out. I want to highlight Trey's run. This is real interesting. This is something that I've talked about this, and again, this is not. It's going to come off as nitpicking, whatever. But again, what I said this last week, when the cornerback is topped, like right here, that's what we call topped, where you got the safety right over the corner right here. You have to be aware of the corner blitz. Like it's almost 99% coming if they're aligned like this because he's got to take him in man. And again, I'd like Julian to point or have somebody point for Josh. Josh Simmons does an incredible job here on this. So this is like a little stretch play, and Josh is pulling out, and you never expect to block a corner on this play, ever. You're thinking you're working off the linebacker, but they got it all picked up, and he literally, seals it up. Again, somebody had to have seen this, or they're just saying, hey, we're going all the way out there because this is literally the perfect call for this run on defense. Now, they don't execute it because they're not good enough, but a corner blitz into the short side run, which I'm sure they saw us do that against Youngstown State and Indiana, so they call it. And, you don't expect your left tackle to pick that up, but hey, it worked. Trey got the edge, got the speed. Again, like, you see it happening. You see everything coming together. You see these guys coming off the ball. The line was better. They're more physical. Pass protection was good. Outside of a fluky play where Devin threw an interception when there was a miscommunication between Evan Pryor and Victor Cutler late in the game on an A-gap blitz. Or no, it wasn't even an A-gap blitz. I think it was a D tackle. They just left free. They just turned him loose, and he ran right into Devin, and ball flopped up in the air, and a big fat guy caught it. But other than that, it was a really clean game turnover-wise. Nevada, I'm going to get to the defense. Defensively, who are your stars of the day? I thought Steele Chambers was all over the place. He looked fantastic. But who else were some guys that you were really happy about?
Well, Denzel Burke, look, again, don't want to make excuses for guys, but Denzel was so hurt last year. He played last year, injured the entire season, and just got maligned, for it. I mean, and he wasn't good, and that's. But sometimes there's reasons for that. He looks like a new guy. I mean, looks like an All-American out there right now. Just absolutely shut down. Josh Proctor, absolutely amazing story. This is the Josh Proctor that we always wanted Josh Proctor to be, and he did it in his 6th year. All of a sudden, he comes in his 6th year, and Josh Proctor is an impact guy flying around. Dropped that interception. He might have housed it if he'd have caught that. But that was a great play on defense that JT had set up. But no, I mean, look, the entire defense was terrific. Some things we got to clean. We gave up a couple of yards on the ground. When we're rushing for, that's the one downside of that 4-man line. When you rush that 4-man line, and and they've got 5 guys blocking, they've got an advantage on you. Especially if they run the quarterback, then they've got 6 guys blocking. But I thought everybody on defense. Steele was terrific. I mean, he doesn't get nearly enough love given how good Tommy is, but Steele was absolutely tremendous today. And when you've got cornerbacks like Hancock and Burke and Davison and guys that can cover like that, then you're going to be able to play against just about anybody on our schedule because we can run with anybody. And I guarantee you the passing attack of Western Kentucky is every bit as good, if not better, than Notre Dame's. It is. It's just better. They're more proficient at it because that's what they do. And that quarterback for Western Kentucky is a good quarterback, 6-year guy, really, really good quarterback. If he played with better weapons, he could be dangerous. But no, the defense just played so well. Great springboard game. It proves again that you don't necessarily need to get sacks. Sacks is a great number, but it's not the only number when you're measuring an impact for a defense. And I thought the defense, from front to back was impactful the whole day. And you just did it, and deep. We were doing it with the second team. We were doing it with the third team. I love what we're seeing from the young guys. I love what we're seeing from the backups. So a lot to be excited about for this year and for the future.
Yeah, I totally agree. This is a great place. So this is why it's better to be lucky than good when you've got Donnie Jackson. You don't normally design this up, but this is not gap sound by their defense. They're just running some wackadoo thing. But Donnie takes 2 guys here, which is hilarious. So he literally blocks 1 and 2. And then Trey's good enough to get to the edge. Josh goes out. Again, like this shouldn't work, but when you're better than they are, it does. So Donnie, you don't draw it up on the grease boards. Okay, now Donnie Jackson, you take 2 guys, 1 in each arm, and then you go out and kick the corner out. But hey, we got it done. It worked. So good job by Donnie there. Because, again, that's not, you don't draw that one up like that, but it worked. I mean, and again, a lot of it is just because Trey's so fast. Trey is the best. He's the best running back in the country by far. I mean, he's running like it. He's running like he wants to be drafted like Bijan Robinson, like a top 20 pick, Jahmyr Gibbs, one of those guys. And I mean, I can't imagine there's a better tailback right now in the game. And I think that, again, with all the weapons, he doesn't get 25 touches a game like some guys do, but he is playing out of this world football right now. And I'm excited for him. I'm just happy for him because, again, I felt bad he was the whipping boy last year when he had such a bad injury with his foot. He was slow, hurt. It's hard to judge the tape from last year when he was playing at 50%, but people do, and people think that he's got no vision and he can't do whatever, but he's the best running back in the country right now. I don't know who'd be better than him. So, but yeah, defensively, like I said, these guys are just playing with such energy. Tommy Steele, the run game. Tyleek was unbelievable today. I mean, Tyleek is starting to, the light bulb, which is scary. If the light bulb comes on for Tyleek, then this defense is really, really going to be good because, when you get a guy in the interior who's as big as Tyleek and can run like Tyleek, and can pass rush like Tyleek and has power like Tyleek, that is a different type of fear factor guy that you have to deal with, more so than JT, who hit a nasty spin move today on the ball that Josh Proctor dropped. It should have been a pick. He had a spin move and left the tackle in cement shoes. It was unbelievable. Who else, Nevada? Like I said, I think that outside of the touchdown that probably should have been a holding call. Again, we don't get it. We're the only school in the country that gets jobbed at home by the officials. But we do. It's happened 2 straight weeks. Outside of that, I mean, it was basically like a 63-3-ish game. What did you think of Western Kentucky's head coach going for it on 4th and medium or long on his own side of the field in the first half? Because I was like, if I'm that defense, I'm like, geez, man, you're really, I mean, I get you're trying to win, but I mean, it was like Madden in the first half. What were your thoughts on that?
Well, I actually liked it. I liked it, and I respected what he was trying to do. And, I think it's one of those things that if you convert it, then you're gutsy, and when you don't convert it, you're an idiot. And, I mean, for him to even stay in the game, to keep the game close, a lot of real things were going to have to go right for him. And he was just trying to get something to go right for him to keep him in the game. And, I mean, the game was close there for a little bit. What were we like? 10-3 or 7-3 or 10-7 or whatever. I can't remember
Yeah.
what the beginning was like, but it was fairly close there in the beginning, and you're starting to think, they're starting to hang around, and the announcers are start talking about Western Kentucky hanging around, and then also we just put the pedal down, and it just got away from them, pretty quickly, which sometimes it has a tendency to do. But what I found interesting about the game defensively was Sonny Styles. We didn't call his name or really even see him. And that's, again, is that a knock on Sonny? No, it's not a knock on Sonny. And sometimes you don't get your number called a lot because you're just doing your job and you're locking your guys down and they're just not going at you. And I'll have to go back because I have not had the benefit of watching the game a second time or a third time and kind of slowing it down. But I just thought it was interesting that, in a game that had so many impact plays on the defense, he wasn't part of any of them. And he's a guy that's an impact player. So it just shows you how many different ways we can hurt you with our athletes on defense. And again, I get it's Western Kentucky. I know this is not Alabama or prime LSU or whatever it is, but hey, I'm gonna be happy. After 3 games, we're giving up 6.7 points per game, and just show your hand if you really expected Ohio State to be doing better than 6.7 points per game after 3 games. There's probably not going to be too many teams in the country that are better than 6.7 points per game after 3 games. So I think we're definitely going to be in the elite category in that regard, and now we're creating turnovers on top of that, and so when you do that, that stuff is contagious, and that seems to carry through. Defenses that do that, they start to do it throughout an entire season, and if our defense can keep us in games, we're going to be very, very difficult to beat this year. So really excited on all fronts.
Yeah, I think our defense is going to have to carry us next week. Honestly, I think that the way that quarterback's playing for Notre Dame, like when you go on the road, man, you got to pack the running game, pack the defense. Those are the two things that you can rely on when it's noisy, when it's whatever. Like pack that defense, pack that running game, and I'm excited to see these guys versus Notre Dame. I mean, they've got easily the best offensive line we've seen, probably the best one we'll see all year until we see Michigan. Um, I mean, I thought Denzel Burke just kept showing up over and over again. He had another fantastic. He's stacking these great games. Like again, another guy that was hurt, another guy that got bagged on for getting hurt. Because like again, when guys play hurt, they don't have to play, but they're trying to gut it out for their teammates. Now, if they put out bad film and they get just like whipped unmercilessly by our fans, like it's not really that fair. But Denzel's stacking these good games together, man. And when you have him with Davison, and then you got Jordan playing nickel now, like I mean, our coverage is great. Yeah, this is a team that led college football, and they're number 1 in passing last year. So this wasn't some joke. They they whooped South Florida. Again, like I love the energy of the defense. Like the defense is kind of carrying. I don't want to say they're carrying the team right now, but they're they're the guys that with Tommy. Like I just feel like Tommy is the overall leader of the team right now. Just because he's and the coordination. I think the chemistry between Tommy and Steele has been great to see. One thing I will say about Western Kentucky is I do love the running quarterback. So everybody can hate me, but it is hard to stop. That's like the one thing that they could get it to convert on us with was running their quarterback, which I wish we'd do a little bit of. But Steven, thank you for the super chat. If you have a question, go ahead and ring it in here and we will get cranking up on it. Nevada, who's your MVP of the day? God, I know who my MVP isn't. I mean, Blue Smith took one of the dumbest penalties I've ever seen in my life for no reason. 15-yard penalty, like with it right down in the red zone. What a turd. But who are your MVPs of the day?
Wow. I mean, that's so tough. I think if I'm going, offensively, I'm going Kyle McCord. Just I thought Kyle really stood up, and it would have been really easy for him to have just be one of those days. But I thought he was terrific and really distributed the ball well. Did exactly what we need him to do. Had the one turnover is really that's the bad play. That's the stuff he's got to avoid. But other than that, I thought he was terrific. He put us in a lot of good plays too. He was audibling, put us in a lot of good plays, and I think that's an underrated characteristic for quarterbacks. I would like to see them vary the snap count. That's one thing we have not seen them do in 3 games right now, is vary the snap count, and I think teams are able to get off on us as a result. But no, I thought he had a really good game, and he'd be my MVP on offense. Then on defense, wow. I mean, where do you? Denzel Burke. I'm going to go Denzel Burke just because they just couldn't get anything on him. But I literally could have inserted 5 or 6 or 7 names on that defensively, because that defense was really, really good today. And that's so much fun to watch. I love defensive football. I'm one of those masochists that, I love watching 10-7 games or 7-3 games or whatever. I just admire defensive football because it's just so much fun to watch, and it's just so much fun to see Ohio State doing the kind of things that we're doing, and we're doing it without, we don't have a Bosa at defensive end, we don't have a Chase Young at defensive end. This is a defensive unit. This is literally 11 guys doing their jobs. We're very gap sound. We're very responsible. We're not just turning guys loose. Sure, we've had some plays here and there, where there's a miscommunication thing, but this is a very coherent defense. And it's just, when you watch that, it's like watching. I just love watching it. It's so much fun to watch it. I'm a defensive guy. I'm a defensive coach by nature, and watching great defense was just fun. And today was really fun.
Yeah, I agree. Steven, thank you for the super chat. If you guys have a super chat, if you have a question you guys want answered, send us a super chat, guaranteed to get answered. Steven, again, thank you. Do you think the O-line has the talent to gel and dominate? I think it has to happen to get past Notre Dame, Penn State, Michigan. I think that they do, honestly, because again, and I'm not just being blind homer guy. I watch more film than probably the rest of the media group combined. I watch film nonstop on these guys. I think that, they're coming along. I think, the thing that helps the O-line dominate is dominating skill players. It's like when you have Ezekiel Elliott, or you have Beanie Wells, or you have, players like that, Trey Henderson. Magically, the O-line is way better. I think that that's part of the formula. It's not like it's just, you're going to get 5 pancakes across the line and then you're going to hand it off and, any back can run up there. It helps when you have Trey. I mean, he makes those numbers, like he makes those 3-yard runs turn into 60-yard runs just because of his ability and his speed and his toughness. He's a tough kid. I mean, he really is. I mean, he played hurt. He didn't have to be playing. A lot of guys wouldn't have been playing, but he played. But I just think that, you go back to the evolution of the 0-2 team when they started Bryce Bishop and Adrian Clark and Stepanovich and Olivier and, our left tackle, he had blood clots, and then Rob Sims had to play left tackle, Ivan Douglas. Like it, again, it just, you see how these teams evolve. 14, obviously we start off with the bad performance against Navy, the loss against Virginia Tech. Then you watch those guys start to evolve, start to roll. And again, I know for a fact that last Sunday it was Hellfire and Brimstone by Justin Fry in the O-line room. It was not a fun day. It was a bad day. So, I think they heard the message loud and clear, because I've been in those meetings when we've been on bad O-lines. I played on bad O-lines. It's like, you don't want to be the group that kind of anchors the team away from flying up to being the number 2 in the country. Because again, folks, if you watch college football, which I'm sure all of you guys are watching Bama today, all you guys are watching Georgia today, nobody is that scary this year. Again, this is just another one of those years where there isn't that hot knife through butter team that can just murder everybody and we're scared to death to play. And oh my God, Clemson stinks. All of the traditional powers. SC has no defense. They have great offense, no defense. I don't know. Like, who's the best player? Who's the best team in the country? Is it Georgia? Is it Texas? I mean, Florida State almost lost to Boston College. Boston College is terrible. So again, I think that this is where, Ryan Day gets to go coach football. This is where he gets to go earn his money. Now it's a race to see who can make their team the best before next Saturday, Marcus Freeman or Ryan Day. You got to pull out every stop known to God and man this week to get these guys revved up and ready to go. And I think they will be, just because they've played 3 sleepy opponents, and now they get to go play in the college game day game, the big noon kickoff game. The eyes of the world will be watching this one. So these are the fun ones. Because again, when you're the kids on this team and you're the coaches on this team, everyone in the universe is asking you about the Notre Dame game for the entire year leading up to the game. And now it's here. There's nobody else in front of you. There's nothing else in the way. None of this fodder is in front of you. It is time. It is now officially go time. Nevada, your thoughts as we get into Notre Dame prep?
Well, I just want to say something on the offensive line. And look, we're really good at protecting the quarterback. And offensive line play, if you look at the bad offensive lines or bad, if you can't protect the quarterback on passing downs, That's a bad offensive line, and that's an offensive line that you watch NFL games, and like the Cowboys are dominating the Giants, and the quarterback doesn't have 2 seconds to go back and throw the ball. That's when you get killed. If you can pass block, but you're just okay at run blocking, you can get away. You can manipulate. You can scheme around that. But if you can't pass block, there's no scheming around that. If you can't pass block, you're just done. So what I'd say is the area that we're most efficient in is in run blocking. And if you're going to be deficient in an area, that's where you want to be. That's where you want to be deficient, because you want to have, you can get away with it through scheme. You can get away with it through utilization of great backs. You can supplement that with your tight ends and other things that your other looks that you're doing. And I think that's exactly what Ryan Day is doing right now. And I think the offensive line is coming along. This is a perfect game for the offensive line at a perfect time. And I think this is going to be a very good offensive line by the end of the year. And I think people by the end of the year, much like the defense, I mean, the defense, let's just go back in the Wayback Machine to say 5 days ago or 6 days ago or 7 days ago, how much abuse was the defense taking? And Jack Sawyer and JT Tumaloa, and I mean, those guys were just getting beat up. And then you fast forward a week and you're like, oh, wow, I guess they really are good. Like, guys, I'm just telling you, we're not guessing on this stuff. We're not just picking names out of a hat and just saying, oh, this guy can play, and oh, Nevada. It's just like random. It's like the wheel of lucky. We have a really, really good defense, and offensively, we've got unbelievable skill players, and our offensive line is more than good. Now, our offensive line is more talented than 90% of the offense. Maybe it's not the best 10% in college football, but it's. I tell you what, it's better than Bama and all those big fat turnstiles that Alabama's got on their defensive line.
Big fat 5-star, big fat 5-star turnstiles, 5-star.
Exactly.
Like
yeah,
like
all those guys.
like when we didn't get J.C. Latham and Caden Proctor and Booker, the world was ending. And how are we ever going to survive? And oh my God, Eric Wolford, the greatest line coach in the history of mankind. You went from Kentucky. I heard people tell me Kentucky's O-line was better than Ohio State's. Again, there's some people that are just dumb, and don't listen to them. Listen to Nevada, and we'll lead you away. I want to show this clip real quick because I love this. This is ultra pressure right here. This is Sonny Styles, which I love, off the edge. JT, Jack. And this is 1st and 10, 2 tight ends. So you're expecting run. So they play run for a second. They see the pull guard, and then they turn it loose. Jack comes off the ball, beats his guy. JT beats his guy. Sonny beats his guy. So, and then you got Tyleek here. He slips, but I mean, so you got, and I mean, this is a shotgun, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is like an 11-step drop. So look where he's at. I mean, this is the line of scrimmage. I mean, he's 11 yards back. Hard to get there, but they get a hit on him. They get a lick on him. Denzel, I mean, it's easy to play corner when that's the kind of pressure you're getting, folks. And again, our guys, like JT, I thought was fantastic today. Jack had a great, look at this quarterback. Here's JT. Here comes Jack Sawyer. Here comes Sonny Styles. You got Tyleek's, 350-pound body. So, and you get a lick in on the quarterback right here, right as he's getting away. But again, he's 11 yards deep. He's running straight backwards to get away from these guys. But again, the pressure is coming. And Josh Proctor, I think I love seeing Proctor out there because I think that he's a kid that, man, a 6-year guy that stayed when he didn't have to. The way these guys run to the ball, the way these guys are playing, they stuff a screen right here. I'm kind of buzzing through some of these to see some of the bigger plays, but there's just a good energy about the defense right now. And again, when you're going on the road to South Bend, man, you're gonna need that defense, and you're gonna need pressure, and you're gonna need to dial it up again. Yeah, I love everything about what these guys are doing. They're heating them up, and they're doing it with 4 guys. What else, Nevada? I mean, this is going to be a huge week for Ohio State. Obviously, this is one of the matchup games we've been talking about for a while. How do you see it starting off this week? I think we're about a 7-point favorite, but heading into Notre Dame, how are you feeling? Have you watched much of the Irish?
Well, I think we're only like a 2-point favorite or 2.5 or something like that.
Is it only 2? Oh,
I think it's pretty low. One thing I'll say for sure is we won't get any calls at Notre Dame. Like
No,
we talk about how we don't get any calls at home. Well, we ain't going to get
no,
calls on the road, and you certainly aren't
no.
going to get any calls at Notre Dame. So let's just, as a fan, you better just get yourself ready for that. But, look, these games generally come down to, speed and coaching. And I think that's a huge advantage for Ohio State. I mean, Marcus Freeman's, I'm just not a fan. He's not a great college coach by any stretch. I'm not even sure he's a good college coach. I'm not even sure he's an okay college coach. He's just a college coach. And Ryan Day's been there. Ryan Day's been in the big games. Our speed's there. They probably definitely have an advantage. Hartman's a very capable quarterback, veteran guy, been around 6 years. He's seen a lot of things. But the bottom line is, much like the Western Kentucky guy, it's great that you can see a lot of things. It's great that you can recognize. It's great that you can get the ball out quickly and stuff like that. But man, if teams are just faster than you are and they're more athletic than you are and they play with more violence than you do, it doesn't matter. Speed kills at every level of football, certainly at the college level. And Ohio State's got speed to burn on the outside and 3 really good cover corners. And when you're having to go to your 4th guy to try to get that matchup you want, that's a problem because Ohio State's got elite cover corners. And when you can do that, when you can get pressure with 4, you have 3 guys on the outside that can man up. That just gives your defense a lot of options to be able to do things to make life difficult for an opposing offense. So I think it's going to be a good. I think it's going to be a low scoring game. I think it's going to be a game that's going to come down to making big plays on special teams and things. But I just think Ohio State's better. And I think ultimately Ohio State grinds it out and wins going away in a game that it's probably close for a half and it isn't close at the end.
Yeah, I totally agree. Speaking of speed kills, what's our favorite play on offense? Trey Henderson. Little screener right here. Man coverage. Easy money. Someone's got to cover Trey, one of these guys. Slip it out to him. Again, you need 2 yards here. Boom, boom, done. Great blocking. And then Trey just does the rest. And I thought he was going to break that, but still, that's just stealing, And again, that's why I'm so happy to see Trey healthy and showing what he can do. Because I do think he's a factor back. I think he's a first, second roundish type running back in the NFL and in a league that devalues running backs. I think that he's that Bijan guy. He's that Jahmyr Gibbs guy. He's a guy that the team will take in the top 25 and make him their franchise running back because you see the burst, you see the speed, you see all the tools. I think I don't say he's the story of the season because we knew he was great, but the fact that he's back and he looks explosive and he's back to being his freshman year self, I think it makes this team so much more dangerous. And we'd heard it and we thought that, and but again, when you actually get to see it, and then I'm gonna go, I'll run one more play and we'll skedaddle out of here and get to these night games. But again, I love the easy touches. I love just getting these guys nice easy touches where they can just do their thing, let the talent take over. Again, Marvin ran 22 miles an hour. That's faster than anybody in the NFL or in college football. Put him in the slot. And again, this poor guy's out on an island, and he's going to have the convoy coming at him here in about 2 seconds. So the convoy's coming. Cade, Emeka does a great job. Marvin cuts it back. I think this might have been the more. Did you only get the holding on this one? Might have. I can't remember. Yeah, that holding. But still, the play design, again, get it to your fast guys and just let them run. That's the thing that I love about when you just let Marvin and Emeka. And Marvin doesn't seem like a jet sweep guy because he's 6'4". You don't see a lot of 6'4" guys running jet sweeps. Those are usually the Chris Rainey types or the Percy Harvin types or the Emeka types. But Marvin took that thing, man, and he was scorching. And again, he covers a lot of ground really fast with his strides, but. When he's running 22 miles an hour, man, that's 4.3 40-ish type stuff. I mean, he's going to be a freaky guy at the combine, I promise you. And I'm really excited. Like I said, I just like the distribution of touches. That was one of the things that was critical about week 1 is that, we had our 2 superstar receivers basically do nothing. They had 34 yards combined. And now it's they get that on a single touch, a single reception. We hit Marvin deep, obviously, when they, on the first play of a drive. Again, I like the throws deep just because it stresses the defense. And it's something you got to be worried about because Marvin normally when you got a big 6'4" guy, you're not worried about him going over the top, but Marvin's done it 3 times in 2 weeks. Like, I mean, like these big bombs that are the most demoralizing play in football, when all of a sudden you hit that bomb and it's just a goner. Well, Nevada, I think we'll wrap this thing up. Nice night of football. Coach Prime coming on at 10. What are your final thoughts from week 3? The Buckeyes are 3-0, likely to climb a little bit in the polls. Again, Bama's struggling, Georgia's struggling. And real quick, what's your projection for the rest of the season? Because I'm telling you, like, I like the vibe of this team. I like the trajectory. I like the schedule. Honestly, Penn State at home, I like that. Michigan obviously is going to be the werewolf at the end of the block, but I mean, we've beat way better Michigan teams than that Michigan team. I promise you, with less talented teams than this. But how are you feeling so far?
Well, I've been feeling great. And I've been saying this for a while. If you listen to these podcasts, you know that I've said this over and over again. I don't see the schedule being this gauntlet of death that a lot of people were predicting for Ohio State before, because Notre Dame's a winnable game. Wisconsin at Wisconsin is not this isn't Jim Sorgi and Robert Reynolds being framed for attempting to choke him allegedly, or Penn State in Columbus.
This isn't JJ Watt.
No, this is not J.J. Watt. This is, Penn State in Columbus. We're their kryptonite. They don't play well in the stadium. And then let's go play Michigan. So, no, I like where this team's at. And, I said this earlier in the podcast, but to the fans, just enjoy every game. Man, do not let the pursuit of perfection and the end result be the thief of enjoying the moment, because these seasons go by too fast. The games are over too fast. And soon it's going to be January and we're going to be going, oh, wow, we got to wait another 7 months to football. So it's 25% of the season's over already. I hope you're enjoying every game, every play, every possession, because I know I sure am. And this is a special Ohio State team. I've had a feeling about this team since the beginning of the year. I've been saying that. I am firmly on that train. It's a special defense. That was the easiest money in the world. When I pushed all the chips in on Knowles before the season, that was the easiest money of all time, because this defense is really good. And if you're the last person to jump on the train, get on it before it leaves the station, because this is going to be this. I'm not saying they're not going to ever give up a score, or there won't ever be a big play. So you can scream, Nevada, you lied. They gave up a score. But this is a very good defense. So enjoy it. Enjoy every bit about this team. Seasons go too quickly, but I think we're looking at a big effort next week in South Bend. But want to hear more from inside, hear more about the practice, hear more about film study, and we'll have we'll have all laid out for you on Buckeye Scoop this week.
Yeah, and I'm going to end this with an offensive line play, because I know you guys love talking about the offensive line like I do. Carson Hinsman, man, I'm telling you, this is a 3 technique. We're running our stretch. This is Trey's second touchdown. This is one of our signature plays. We kind of wind Cade back here. Cade's got to get a little bit deeper. I think he's got to be a little bit more physical. Josh Simmons, he's got to cut his hands down. But on the front side, Carson gets on his horse. These guys do a 3-man reach, and Carson reaches a 3 technique, which is hard to do. And these guys kind of fall back into it. I don't think they mean to do this, but Josh just pushes it back into the gap. But this guy's irrelevant, because he's going where, when Trey's hitting that full head of steam out to the outside, this guy's not relevant anymore. So Josh Schreier's got a tough decision, because it's like, do I look at this guy who's his assignment? These two already have these two, so those guys are dead. This is why you do this little wind back right here. Is 6 has to go with Cade in man coverage. So Cade coming to wind back on the end literally takes him with him, because these guys ran a lot of man coverage, which is like suicide against Ohio State when we're good. And then Josh has a toughie to go here or here. Generally, he'd be going here, but he gets a hand on 11, which is great. So he's out of the deal. Great blocking out there. And Trey's got to make one guy miss, and he does. Runs through the tackle, puts his shoulder down. Again, when it's a goal line tackle, man, like, you're not going to stop Trey on the 1-yard line. So great by the offensive line. And that's a great play by Carson Hinsman. So, again, I know everyone wants to bag on these guys, but you can see progress. That's why you guys tune into our podcast, because we show you this is what's going well. This is what needs to get better. Again, and I think there's a lot of positive energy right now around the program. I think that, again, these O-line guys got whipped last Sunday, man. It was not fun to be in the Woody Hayes and be in that O-line room. But playing better. They played way better. That was the best team they've played all year, and guess what? They just had their best game they did all year. So they get a lot of momentum going forward. So, well, we appreciate you guys. We're gonna wrap this show up. As always, thank you guys for being a part of this. Again, get on BuckeyeScoop.com. We're going to have a night game thread. We'll be watching Coach Prime and some of these games going on. Hope you guys are doing great. Again, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to be post-game shows from here on out. Again, thank you. If you enjoy this content, please leave us a like, click subscribe, and also click the little alert bell where we have our little... you get the alert on your phone when we are going to be live. Again, I appreciate all you regulars that are in here. You guys jump on as soon as you get that alert, and you guys are in here bringing the questions, bringing the heat. So thank you guys so much. I want to know your MVPs. Give me the MVP on offense or 2, MVP on defense or 2. And, just get ready for Notre Dame. If you are not on BuckeyeScoop.com, this is the week to do it. This is the marquee matchup game versus Notre Dame Fighting Irish. We're going to have a ton of content for you guys. So appreciate you guys so much. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Thank you so much, Scoop family. And thank you, Buckeye Nation. I will see you guys tomorrow. Go Bucks.